Hello, everyone. For those who know me, do you want to know why I always try to joke and laugh? At one time, people always saw two sides of me. There was the funny, fun-loving, joking guy. Then there was that other guy that would wreak havoc in an instant or a heartbeat. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Bruce Banner, and the Hulk. Like those two examples, I can start off that lovable person, but people don't understand that there is someone lurking in the shadows just below the surface at all times, overeager to father to total destruction with no regard to consequences or repercussions. Like me, even though there are two different versions like Jekyll, Hyde, Banner, Hulk, we are all the same individuals. But if we started off that one version that's normally on the surface, the good, nice guy, where does that dark other guy come from? How is he manifested? How is it created? How is it put inside? How did it get in us? There are many different ways to develop one of the hardest things a person will ever have to live with or cope with, and that's PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. People can develop PTSD due to experiencing or witnessing a traumatic event. Now, this can be anything from accidents, physical or non-consensual assaults, natural disasters, combat of many forms, or any event that causes intense fear, helplessness, or horror. Now, the severity and duration of the trauma or traumatic event can also influence the development of post-traumatic stress disorder. It starts when we're just a solo act, acting on what we believe to be innocent or good intentions. Like Dr. Jekyll, Jekyll had developed a potion to allow himself to separate the good and evil aspects of his personality so he could destroy the evil aspects of himself. Unfortunately, it didn't go quite that way for him. Instead, the potion had the complete reverse effect. Jekyll eventually got obsessed and addicted to the potion and the adrenaline of his evil persona. Now, with Banner, he was just a kind-hearted scientist until he was accidentally exposed to a really heavy dose of gamma rays while saving the life of a young Rick Jones during the detonation of an experimental bomb. All right, now me, I just wanted to serve my great country and make a difference in the world. I was just a naive 17-year-old believing society when it says you can be anything you want. When in reality, I was just a young punk who watched too many action movies, and I was just blind to the cruel realities of the real world. Now, whatever your situation, coping becomes the anthem, a daily struggle to navigate life. And I said cope with because, unfortunately, there's not currently a definitive cure for post-traumatic stress disorder, and that at times can be incredibly challenging. There are many PTSD life coping skills, though, people can learn to help them make life more manageable. However, you're usually stuck with it for life. Now, once we have that other person inside of us, we wonder what brings them out. What prompts this darker persona to emerge, wreaking havoc and destruction? It's usually a triggering moment that reminds us, or it takes us back to that initial tragic event, or when we are subjected to maybe emotional stress at or against our own will. Now, once we are triggered, we become something of a force of nature, like a hurricane or a tornado. We become uncontrollable with no set direction, laying a path of destruction that usually has to run its course or wear out. Sadly, one thing, it almost always ends with us hurting others more than we've hurt ourselves. Again, there's no cure. But we can learn to cope with and reduce the chances of getting triggered. Awareness and setting boundaries are key. It's very crucial that you become aware and learn what your own triggers are. That way you can start the process of learning healthy ways to practice coping with those triggers or learning how to avoid triggering situations. Now, learning to avoid triggering situations goes with learning to set healthy boundaries. Being aware of my triggers and setting boundaries, my own boundaries, is how I learned to cope with living a healthy lifestyle with post-traumatic stress disorder. In doing so, I've kind of become the Banner Hulk in a sense. You see, Banner came to understand that he is stuck with the Hulk, and he and the Hulk came to like this mutual understanding of how they can coexist together and turn their negatives into positives. Now, I don't have superhuman strength or super speed or anything like that, and my wife would swear my superpowers seem to be sarcasm and overthinking. Even those superpowers took a while to get under control till I could learn to use them to where they stopped getting me into trouble. Seriously, on a serious note, PTSD is no joke at all. And although very misunderstood, learning PTSD life coping skills and traits makes it manageable. Now, taming these traits do take time. Honing them into tools that no longer cause trouble, but rather serve as sources of understanding and resilience. Now, me turning my negatives into positives means I'm taking my experiences and turning them into tools to help others become aware, and I'm providing helpful ways to help others cope with their PTSD, hopefully. And learn to talk about what's on your mind opposed to bottling up. Bottling up is unhealthy and it can lead to negative behavior. So learn to talk about, open up, allow trusted others to help you be able to bear the heavy emotional load. All right, now this is important. If you do have PTSD, you have to be aware that as an individual, you are the one who has PTSD, not all of society around you. You have PTSD. You. Initially, I fell into the trap of using my PTSD as an excuse for my actions, expecting others to excuse my behavior with a simple, "Oh, I have PTSD." This habit of leaning on my disorder as a crutch hindered my growth. It took a pivotal realization that I, and only I have to live with this condition for life. Accepting this responsibility meant shifting my perspective. Have a paradigm shift, Instead of expecting society to revolve around accommodating to my disorder, I understood the necessity of adapting to coexist in accordance and within societal expectations. This adjustment wasn't about walking on eggshells or expecting others to cater to my needs. It was about me finding ways to navigate society while managing my post-traumatic stress disorder effectively. I had to learn to cope and adjust as an individual to all of society and stopped expecting all of society to cope and adjust to the individual that is me. Now, that said, within my circle, my inner circle, my significant other, my children, close friends and family, it becomes essential for them to adapt or adopt and foster awareness themselves. They needed to understand the origins of my PTSD, my triggers, and the coping mechanisms I rely on. Again, this goes to what I was saying about learning to talk about and open up to trusting others. Now, also recognize that even within this intimate group, the responsibility of maintaining my well-being rested solely on me. Learning healthy coping strategies was pivotal, okay? It wasn't about others changing their behavior, but about me developing ways to handle my post-traumatic stress disorder responsibly and constructively. It's important to have people who can help hold you accountable of holding yourself accountable. Now, me holding myself accountable, it become paramount, very important, with my close circle playing a supportive role in aiding that accountability. At its core, managing PTSD boiled down to my individual responsibility. While support from loved ones was invaluable, the heart of the matter of managing this condition rested solely on my shoulders. I had to learn how to coexist with society without expecting society to accommodate to me. It was about finding a balance between acknowledging my struggles and not allowing them to dictate or define every aspect of my interactions. Now, the journey toward managing PTSD in a responsible and healthy manner it's ongoing. It's a continuing process of self-awareness, adaptation, and growth. But understanding that the responsibility lies primarily within me or with me has been the cornerstone of my progress. So here we are, warriors within ourselves, navigating the intricacies of our minds. It's a journey marked by acceptance, resilience, and the transformation of vulnerabilities into strengths. Now, within this labyrinth lies the potential for growth, for understanding, and for embracing our unique duality. I hope this video has been educational and enjoyable, but most of all, I really hope it helps someone who needs it. If I could have just learned this earlier, I may not have had the experiences. I may not have had the troubles I did, but at the same time, I got to be grateful for what has happened to me, because now I have the experiences to be able to pass on and hopefully help others. Thank you. Have a blessed day.